So once again, welcome. My name's Alex Oxens. I'm part of the Google Cloud team based in Singapore, and I will be kickstarting this webinar and a short presentation for you this afternoon. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for joining. This is in partnership with CS. So really excited to have some members of the CS team with us today as well. Myself and Russ from Google will take you through a few segments of G Suite, particularly around what's new. And we're really excited to share some updates that we have, which have already been launched, as well as things to expect in the near future. And then we'll hear from Gaurav and DJ from CS as well, which will be focusing on some topics around best practices for admins in G Suite environments, as well as for those that might not be aware, learning a bit more about CS and how CS can help you transform your business. As mentioned, towards the end of the presentation, there'll be Q&A. So the link at the top, which you should see on the screen, ask a question at. Please follow that link and feel free to post any questions there. And we'll make sure we get as many of those answered for you as we can. Awesome. And one thing to note as well, thanks to CS, we are also offering free security assessment workshop for 3 lucky winners of those that have joined today. So to be eligible, please stay all the way until the end, and we would love to be able to award 3 lucky winners a security assessment workshop with CS. So CS will share more about that later on in the presentation, but a very exciting prize, and yeah, it'll be awesome. Some lucky winners to take advantage of that. Okay, so as mentioned, the first 2 sections of this will be covered by myself and Russ. Again, to introduce myself, my name is Alex Hobson. I'm the head of G Suite account management across the Asia Pacific region for the segment. So delighted to be with you here today. It's great to see some familiar faces on the call. And I know we have a range of customers who are already existing G Suite customers, as well as perhaps some who are considering G Suite. And then Ross, I'll allow him to introduce himself during his segment. He'll take you through a live demo, which will be awesome. So the agenda to kick things off will be around sharing an overview of G Suite for those that might not be fully aware of everything that is comprised within G Suite. And I'm really excited to share with you some aspects of what's new in G Suite as well as looking forward slightly into the future around what's coming. And again, followed by a briefing from Russ on what to expect from the future of Gmail. So kicking things off in the overview, and I won't labor this point too much because everyone has been in this situation for quite some time, but remote is very much becoming the new normal for the foreseeable. There's some interesting stats that we have access to focused on US workers, but I think this does apply to pretty much all the workers around the world, given the impact of what we've seen this year has affected essentially almost every country in some way or another. But we have just seen such a huge shift of workers who are working from home for multiple days in a week, as seen in the statistic there. Well over 20% are we expecting of workers, at least in the US, and again, as I said, I think this applies globally, to be working from home multiple days a week. And then looking slightly more mid to long term, we're seeing that a huge amount of C-level leaders of their businesses are also saying that they do intend to shift some on-site employees to be permanently remote working as well. I think in many cases, what we're seeing here is impacting some short term, but there are many companies and organizations that we work with who are changing their strategy permanently as a result of what we've seen happen this year. And with all that in mind, one huge challenge that we see a lot of our customers are facing is that in order for teams to be enabled to work remotely effectively, there's a number of things that are missing from a lot of customers' current IT stacks and IT strategy, particularly when it comes to looking at productivity and collaboration. So in order to make that shift, we found a lot of customers are really struggling to allow their users to collaborate remotely. All of those things that we used to take for granted, that a workspace, an office would give, are now gone for many who aren't working in an office. And therefore that collaboration is much harder to achieve consistently whilst working from home. And then there's a ton of security vulnerabilities that are then exposed as well, based on people working from home remotely. You know, it means there's a lot more potential devices that are needed to be secured from remote locations. That can be quite hard for many companies to ensure that they have the right security policies across their entire staff, particularly for perhaps onboarding new employees as well for the first time who would be working from home as they are onboarded. How do we ensure that they have secure devices and are using secure platforms when working for those companies? And finally, we're also getting a lot of feedback from our customers that in many cases point solutions, like point products and very quick fixes, don't really solve the ongoing issues that we see around ensuring that teams are equipped to make that shift from remote work. And so G Suite, what is G Suite? And to us, G Suite is an integrated workspace that helps teams do their best work from anywhere. And we'll talk much more about that in terms of what that looks like. In terms of what the whole portfolio looks like, we split that into 3 columns. The first one's very much around collaboration, so connecting with your teammates wherever they are. I'm sure most are familiar icons to you all. And then the middle column is around productivity. So how can we help our customers create everything that they need to bring projects to life? That's the full range of editor suites, as well as some other productivity applications like forms and sites as well. And then finally, from a access control and security point of view, we have a wide range of features and products within the portfolio to enable our customers to ensure that everyone working on G Suite is secure, but is also optimizing their productivity as much as possible as well. And within G Suite, we have 3 primary versions: Basic, Business, and Enterprise. I won't spend too long in talking through each aspect of this, but what we really hope that this offers to our customers is a range of choice when it comes to G Suite. And we are seeing, at least in my segment of SMB, we're seeing many more customers today adopt the enterprise version of G Suite, particularly based around some of the advanced features of video conferencing that we have, as well as the advanced security aspects of our enterprise offering as well. And what differentiates us? We put that into 4 main categories. The first being innovation. Innovation is at the core of our DNA. Digital transformation is, of course, top of mind for most customers today. And for us, Google is continuing to be a global thought leader in that. And within G Suite, I think we've been able to demonstrate a lot of innovation, particularly this year, as we continue to roll out updates and different features and enhanced products and features as well. But that innovation is continuous, and so we get a lot of feedback from our customers. Very happy to see new features being added and rolled out seamlessly as they continue to experience G Suite. And then secondly, the power of Next is no longer just about collaboration, but how to create, predict, build, engage with what is next. Again, from a artificial intelligence point of view, G Suite has a lot of aspects which are enhanced by AI. And again, we're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with G Suite today to ensure that our customers are always looking ahead and able to create, predict, build, and engage. And engagement is the catalyst for collaboration as well. It's what we've seen this year has probably advanced and accelerated digital transformation for many customers, maybe what would have taken them previously 5 years. Again, G Suite's at the forefront of that. We're a complete digital native built in the cloud solution. And again, we're able to help drive customers towards digital transformation as quickly as possible, but whilst also being secure. There is no more secure offering in the cloud space. We've been, from our security aspects, we built that from the ground up, and security is always top of mind for everything that we do, and that continues to be the case as well. And effective collaboration is critical with a remote workforce. 75% of remote workers out there believe they miss out on important information because they're not in the office. And a lot of those things, as I said, that are taken for granted are removed. Therefore, we have to ensure we have a platform that enables them to continue to collaborate between their workforce as well as externally. And organizations are now turning to video. As you see, we are on Google Meet today. We've provided a lot of enhancements to Google Meet over the course of the last 6 to 12 months. And up until the end of this month, we're actually offering the advanced features of Meet to all existing customers for free. If you haven't already, I'd highly recommend enabling them, and you'll be able to then deliver things like virtual all hands via live stream for up to 100,000 viewers. You can host Google Meet video conference meetings like this for up to 250 participants, as well as recording those as well. And again, we're seeing a deal of customer engagement accelerated by being able to use and leverage video rather than a more basic audio conferencing offering. And interestingly, we're also seeing that because of remote working policies becoming the norm, we're seeing a lot of companies are having access to a greater and more diverse talent pool as well. And that's an interesting stat that we've seen, that 74% of their CFOs, which was surveyed early in the year, so they intend to shift to those permanent remote working offerings, and therefore we're seeing employers have access to a greater deal of diverse candidates. And as mentioned a couple of times, security is top of mind for a lot of customers when assessing and understanding how they can deliver remote working experiences for their internal users whilst remaining secure. We're seeing obviously a continued threat of security issues that our customers are facing, right from our SMB customers all the way up to our largest enterprise customers. And again, for us, this remains top of mind when we're rolling out G Suite. And as mentioned briefly, G Suite Enterprise is our most advanced edition of G Suite, and it includes everything on the basic and business editions of G Suite, but it also has some advanced video conferencing features, as well as advanced security controls as well. As I said, we're seeing a shift towards a lot of our customers more interested in understanding and adopting these features to ensure that remote working can continue safely as well as being collaborative. And interestingly, and again, one of the key challenges that we saw from a lot of our customers in having to invest in lots of point products, actually from a cost point of view as well, this can become quite expensive when having to adopt a number of different point products. G Suite Enterprise especially is such a broad offering that we are seeing a lot of our customers actually able to consolidate their spend with G Suite, but not to the detriment of the experience of the user or creating any risk around security flaws or issues. So for us, we're seeing that total cost of ownership discussion coming into play when customers are assessing the potential savings when consolidating into G Suite. So quickly, I'll just run through what's new in G Suite. So as mentioned, Google Meet is a product which some may have previously heard of in other names, such as Hangouts and Meet. We've invested heavily in this platform, and the innovation that we're seeing here is really exciting. The features that we're rolling out, as well as the overall adoption of this product now. We're seeing a lot of our customers increasing significantly the use of Meet and the reliance of this product in order to do their day-to-day business. And some of the features that we have added more recently, and again, Russ will demo and I'll leave it to Russ to talk in detail here, but we're actually having integrated Meet into the Gmail front end to allow for very quick and easy moves to move from a chat to a meeting or video conferencing meeting. And you can join with a single simple URL as well as dial-in numbers. Again, just giving choice to customers, particularly if it's with a number of external clients joining that meeting as well. They have choice in how they join that meeting. And also inviting people from outside. And you can invite people outside of the organization. That's absolutely fine and very easy to manage. But then somebody in the organization has to admit that person into the meeting, again, just to ensure security and that those invited are actually the ones who are attending the meeting and not others. And this one's really cool. This is a new feature that we've rolled out, noise cancellation. I've got a very young baby at home who regularly cries, and this has been tested and it works pretty well. So my audio and voice is still coming through, but all that background noise is removed. So this is a really neat feature. This was something that's recently been launched, and again, we're getting lots of great feedback from our customers on this. And yeah, we have a different range of ways where participants can enjoy the meeting, whether that be a tiled screen with all of the other attendees or one of the other various configurations that we have. And I was just chatting about at the start of the call today, we can blur out backgrounds, we can change backgrounds if people are wanting to place themselves somewhere else. We have all of those features available. And we're really ensuring that Meet is a very scalable edition. We have up to 16 participants that you can see at any one time. And again, this is really about ensuring that Meet is capable of running huge meetings, whether that be perhaps an all-hands or a town hall or something like that, or of course a large meeting with a number of external suppliers or whatever that might be. And we also have improved media quality when presenting as well. So presenting videos and other rich media is completely possible and very easy to deliver with. We also have a low light mode as well. So Meet uses AI and it automatically adjusts video to make sure that the attendee is more visible, even with suboptimal lighting conditions. And finally, from me, I'd just like to take you through what's coming up. So we have a lot of neat features that are being added in the not so distant future. One being a raise hand button. So this again helps to increase participation in larger meetings where we're able to raise a hand and the host can see that and then either pause to have questions or park those for later. But just giving that interaction and making sure it's a rich experience for everybody. Similarly, whiteboarding within Meet as well. So we've integrated our Jamboard into Meet, which makes it easy for those who are remote to participate in brainstorming activities, and they can all collaborate on that same whiteboard, and which is of course saved afterwards, and then can be referred back to for the next meeting. And some other planned upcoming features we have on the roadmap are meeting attendance. So this will give the meeting host a simple way to see who has attended the meeting. Breakout rooms, this one's really neat, especially for those larger group meetings again, where the host is able to actually split the initial meeting into a few smaller groups, perhaps a separate discussion, and then once that's over, bringing everyone back into the same primary meet room as well. So we've seen that really useful, particularly for training scenarios or webinar scenarios or workshops or things like that. So yeah, excited about that feature. And then Q&A and polling, again, about increasing the amount of interaction that we offer to the users and participants. So Q&A, obviously fairly self-explanatory, but allowing a channel for the users to ask questions without disrupting the flow of conversation. And again, they are documented and saved after the meeting was finished. And also polling to engage with participants and understand perhaps feedback on a particular presentation or particular discussion, allowing all those users on to vote based on the questions in the poll. And then we're also looking at enhancing moderator controls as well. So that gives the host greater control in terms of who is presenting, as well as muting individuals if required. So that's coming as well very soon. And with that, thank you for listening to myself share a briefing about G Suite, what's current, what's new, what's coming up. I'm now delighted to pass to Russ, who will talk about the future of Gmail.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you everybody for spending your afternoon here with us. I'm going to take you through some of the new features that are within G Suite. My role here at Google is to work with large enterprises and move them from the traditional tools of Microsoft Office over to G Suite. So that's what I do during my day job. But what I have the pleasure of doing is showing these companies who have yet to move over to G Suite some of the great new features that we've been working on. And so what I'm going to show you is the product of a lot of customer feedback. So over the years, we've collected a lot of feedback on G Suite and things that customers would like to see. And it just so happens that, as we were developing these new capabilities, this pandemic struck. And whether it's it's good timing or not, but we just happened to be launching a lot of these capabilities around the time that all of us were working from home. And so it couldn't come too soon. So we're lucky that some of these new capabilities are coming out. And what we're doing, if you go to the next slide, Alex, is we are bringing pretty much all of your communications right into the Gmail inbox. So if you think about the way a lot of companies are working today, they may have 30 different tabs that are open in Chrome at any given time. And if that sounds familiar to you, you're not alone. And so when you're working through multiple tabs, you spend a lot of time just switching between different applications. And so what we decided to do here at Google with the help of our customer feedback is combine everything into Gmail. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't still operate in separate tabs if you want to. Of course, we're going to allow you to do that. But what we're now doing is bringing email, chat, rooms, so group messaging, video conferencing, file sharing, and task management all within Gmail. And if you go to the next slide, Alex, I'll show you a glimpse of what this looks like on the mobile app. And then I'm going to show you real time on the web, some of these new features that we're using here already at Google. And some of you, if you're already a customer, might be using today, or maybe you don't know about them yet. And hopefully today will be an opportunity for you to learn more about them. So you can see here on the mobile app, we're combining into the same Gmail interface, chat, email through Gmail, video conferencing through Meet, and group messaging through Rooms. So this is going to be very useful if you're communicating with a lot of different people throughout the day. So why don't I go ahead and just dive into a live demo. So I'm going to share my screen. And the first thing I'm going to show you is this. We all know what this is, right? This is Google. I don't need to show you how to use Google. We've all become trained experts through our own experience to search for things, whether it's a wedding planner, a restaurant, a doctor, and we've become used to being able to find whatever we really need in order to get reservations made, appointments booked, research for homework assignments. And what we decided to do is take the same intelligence that you get from google.com and bring that right into your inbox. So here we are in Gmail. This is a very familiar interface. I'm going to make this a little larger so you can hopefully see a little bit more clearly. You might be familiar with this search bar across the top. Well, we've really supercharged the search throughout G Suite. And now you can search for pretty much anything within your organization and find it. So for example, let me say I want to look for anything from Natalie. So Natalie is one of my coworkers here. She's on this call today. And what it's going to do is now surface not only the emails that I've exchanged with Natalie, but also all of our chat interactions. So any of the chat interactions that we've had together, all within the Gmail window. Again, I'm not leaving Gmail to do this. So search has gotten a major upgrade. And of course, if you want a more granular search, you can put some limits on it through using these advanced search filters. So if you're not familiar with these capabilities and you're familiar with, say, using other email tools like Outlook, where it's very difficult to find what you're looking for, most of our G Suite customers don't use folders in Gmail because they have search. They don't need to folder everything because they can just find it as easy as a Google search. Okay, the other thing that we've upgraded here is the notification setting. So in the past, if you were working on a project or you're in a meeting, you might be getting pinged over and over again by instant messages through Google Chat or other notifications from your new emails coming in. And we now want to give you more control over how you receive and experience notifications. So you can see now we have a snooze setting. So if I set this to be inactive for the next 2 hours, what this means is people can still email me. I'm just not going to be interrupted throughout the day with all the new notifications. And this is very helpful if I'm trying to work on a project where I need intense focus. So that's another upgrade. And then the other thing that you'll see within Gmail that's new is that we've brought all of the communications right here within your Gmail window. So I can have all of my chat rooms. I have all of my meetings. So if I want to launch into a new video conference, I can do that directly from here. So if I want to chat with Natalie, right? I can do that right here in the Gmail window. I can also expand that out within the Gmail window so that I have a larger screen real estate to work with. Okay, and look, you see here how it's looking at Google Calendar to notice that she's in a meeting, which is this meeting because she's on this call, until 3:45 p.m. And this is really useful because if someone's out of the office, for example, maybe they're out sick and they have an out of office responder on from Gmail, I don't want to message them and bother them if they're out on holiday or if they're out sick. So we're just making it much more helpful for you to communicate with your coworkers right here within Gmail. Okay, let's talk about video conferencing. So this is a big improvement over the previous Google Hangouts. It's now called Google Meet, and we've announced a number of new features. I'm going to show you some of those features right now. But the first thing I want to show you is when I click on My Meetings, it's going to show me all of the meetings that I have on my calendar, right? And I can automatically join directly here from the Gmail inbox. Of course, if I'm more comfortable, I can go over to Google Calendar, the app itself, and I can join my meetings from here. That's one way to do it. But if you want to live within the Gmail inbox, you can pretty much do 80% of your job right here within Gmail without ever leaving. Okay, so that's really useful. But also launching into a new meeting is something that we might want to do. So let me click on New Meeting, and it's going to give me a link that I can copy. I can send this link to anybody. They don't need to just be in my company. They can be outside the company. And as Alex mentioned, they still can join. When they try to join, the organizer of the meeting is going to get a little pop-up that says, do you want to admit that person to the meeting? I can send an invite here directly through Google Calendar, or I can go ahead and just join now. What I'd like to do actually is show you the scheduling. So if I go here and schedule a new meeting, let's say sync with Matt, more options, it's automatically going to add the Google Meet video conferencing link. And if you're in one of the countries where there's a local dial-in number, so if you want to dial in through your phone, you will also get a local dial-in number if you're in one of those countries. Like Singapore, for example, is a local dial-in number. And I'm going to add Nat to this, this meeting. I'm going to make this so that she can modify the event if she wants to. And I'm going to just go ahead and save this. And she's going to receive an invitation to join this meeting. Now, it's very simple for her to join it. All she has to do is go to her calendar or within Gmail, as I showed you, click Join with Meet. I'm going to turn off my camera and the microphone on this. And the first thing that you'll notice when I join, and hopefully you can see my screen here. Right here, there are, and Nat, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yeah, confirmed.
Yep. Fantastic, thank you. So several new features that I'm very excited to show you today. So when you click on the 3 dot at the bottom right corner, you can now cast your meetings using a Chromecast. So if you're familiar with a Chromecast, it's about a $50 device that you can get at pretty much any electronic store. You can connect this into the back of a TV screen. So think about your meeting rooms in your office. Instead of buying an expensive video conferencing kit, for $50, you can get a Chromecast, plug that into the TV, and then you can cast your meeting directly from here to that TV. So I'm working from home today, obviously, and you can see I've got a number of different Chromecasts within my home because I've got a couple of different TVs that I can stream this meeting to. So you no longer need to have wires in your meeting rooms. This is all done wirelessly. So that's a huge improvement. The other thing that Alex mentioned is Jamboard. So Jamboard is a whiteboarding feature. And if I want to collaborate with other people on my team or other teams, I can very easily create a jam or a whiteboard and work on that directly here within the meeting. So that's great. Better collaboration within the context of the meeting. You can record meetings, which we talked about earlier. We're actually recording this one, and we'll send you the recording after today's session. This feature I'm very excited about. It's called Breakout Rooms. And we got feedback from a lot of our educators. So Google has tens of thousands of schools across Southeast Asia. that use G Suite. In fact, pretty much every school in Malaysia is using G Suite, millions of students. And the feedback we got from those users was that they wanted to have the ability to create separate breakout rooms for the meeting. And so we've given you that new feature. So I can very easily set up new breakout rooms, give it a name, and then assign people into those breakout rooms. Now you can have separate conversations within the main meeting itself. So that's very, very useful. So that's breakout rooms. We've also launched new page layout options. So you can see we have these standard page layouts, but now you can have a tiled page layout with up to 49 people showing all at once. So if you want to see 49 different faces, this is the way to do it. All right, other features that are brand new within Google Meet that I'm excited about is background blur. So when you turn this on, it's going to use artificial intelligence to blur the background behind you. Probably seen this type of feature before. There's also this feature, which you might not be familiar with, which is live captioning. And what live captioning is going to do, it's going to transcribe your text, your speech to text. So that's really useful. And then lastly, in terms of the new features I wanted to show you here is noise cancellation. Alex mentioned this earlier, but this does make a huge difference. If you have, motor scooters riding by outside and you're trying to concentrate on a meeting, or if you have a baby who's crying in the other room, this is a great way for the technology to only focus on your voice, and it will eliminate the rest of the background noise. It's really interesting, and it works very well. Okay, so those are some of the new features within Google Meet that I wanted to show you. Now, the last thing I wanted to do is talk to you about Google Chat. So we talked a little bit about chatting with people one-to-one, as well as chat rooms, but we now have a dedicated experience, a dedicated user interface for you to engage in one-to-one messaging as well as group messaging. It's called Google Chat. The fastest way to get there is just to go up here in Gmail to this hamburger menu, as we call it, and scroll down to chat. And when you click on chat, it's going to open up the chat window. And what's great about this is it's not just about chat communications. It's also about collaboration around Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. So let me go ahead and create a room that includes multiple people. So Natalie, test room, give it a name. I can choose an emoji for the little icon. If I choose threaded replies, then I can also choose what's known as inviting external users to my room. So today, if you're using WhatsApp to do a lot of communications with customers or vendors, you can eliminate that and do everything through Google Chat, because now I can invite people externally. And the way that this works is once I set up the room, it's going to ask me to add people. And so I can add people like Gaurav, who is our partner at Sears, who is on today's meeting as well. And I can invite Natalie. And they're going to get an invitation over email that they've been invited to this room. And then once they come in this room, we can go ahead and collaborate around this. So like, hey, use the app mentioned. Please check out this Prezzo. I can come over here, copy this presentation, and I can post the link in here. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at the rights management of the file, and it's going to say, do you want to give access to the people in this room to view, edit, or comment on this? And I'm going to go ahead and select edit, and now they're going to have access to this Google slide. So it's as easy as that to collaborate around files. And now you can see Natalie's also used a bot. There's a series of bots that are available. You can find them in the G Suite Marketplace. Many of them are free, by the way. And if you're not familiar, there's also a Chrome web store for Chrome plugins. And these are all the free Google Chrome plugins. So I would highly encourage you to check out some of these free plugins that are available if you're using G Suite. And then here in the G Suite Marketplace, there's thousands of third-party applications. Most of them are free. Some of them are for an extra service charge. But you can find everything in here from project management tools to scheduling tools, CRM applications that really extend the usefulness of your G Suite. Okay, back over to Google Chat. A couple of other things to highlight here. You can very easily search through Google Chat here. So if I want to find anything pertaining to Natalie, I can do that, and it's going to find what's pertinent to me. Actually, the search is up here. Sorry. So I can search messages. So like, let's say anything related to Cognizant, which is the company I'm working with. And maybe there's none in this instance. Okay, here we go. So yeah, you can see all of the communications I've had in relation to Cognizant as a customer of G Suite, by the way. So that's very useful, being able to find stuff. So what I've taken you through today was some of the updates within Gmail. So search, talked about the new notification settings, how we're bringing all communications within one user interface. So that's email, chat, as well as video conferencing, as well as task management too, by the way. You can assign tasks and disposition tasks directly here within the Gmail window. So hopefully you learned a couple of new things today that you can take back and use these within your business. If you're not using G Suite today, we welcome the opportunity to speak with you further. But without belaboring the point, I'm going to hand it over to our partners from Sears, and they're going to talk to you a little bit about how they can help you maximize your investment in G Suite or get started with G Suite.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Gaurav. I lead the work transformation practice at Sears for the APAC region. Thank you, Alex and Russ, for walking us through the most critical and recent G Suite feature updates and a first-time great view into the new Gmail UI, the single pane integrated workspace. Okay, so we are halfway into the webinar, and I would want to again thank everyone on this call to spend this Thursday afternoon with us. We will now shift gears to cover the best practices for IT teams while managing a G Suite admin console for their respective organizations. This will ensure that the end consumers and users are empowered by G Suite to do their best work while ensuring the data security and compliance checks are in place to protect your organization. Before I invite DJ to walk us through some of these capabilities, I'll just take the next few minutes to quickly help you get a view into Sears. We are a global premier partner for Google Cloud. We're about 750 Searsians based out of 13 locations across the three major regions of APAC, EMEA, and USA. We have won the JPAC Partner of the Year 4 years in a row and continue to be the largest partner for G Suite in Southeast Asia and India. We've had a long and successful journey with Google Cloud. We've brought over 2,000 customers onto G Suite since early 2007. We then went on to introduce several other Google practices over the years, such as GCP, Maps, Cloud Search, Apigee, and also have introduced some of our own IPs, an HRMS platform called Happier Work, and a document digitizer called Recognic. Last year in 2019, we became the first partner in APAC to achieve the critical enterprise collaboration specialization for G Suite. Once again, these are the work transformation and G Suite specializations which validate our success in deploying over 2,000 plus G Suite customers in the last 13 years. Just to cover a few quick highlights, we manage over 500,000 seats, active G Suite seats on the Sears Partner Console with a 97% customer and renewal retention, and about 800 plus G Suite paid managed service subscriptions. We've conducted about 4,000 plus train the trainer sessions and continue to conduct hundreds of biannual security checks to ensure our customer admin consoles have a 90 plus security score. And last but not the least, we specialize in business process improvement, where we have automated over 2,500 processes and workflows for our customers. This particular slide gives all of you a quick snapshot of what is it that we do with our customers. It primarily revolves around these 8 service pillars. One-time activities such as G Suite deployment and data migration, the most critical service of change management to ensure adoption of each of these several G Suite services, 24/7 support, and an ongoing collaboration with our customers to automate and improve their processes and workflows. The other critical service which I would just want to highlight is the security assessment. And as Alex mentioned in the beginning, three customers, 3 lucky attendees today will experience this assessment at no cost. And our next speaker will also be covering the details of the program itself. Before I sort of hand over to the best practices segment, just wanted to share a quick snapshot of a few of our happy customers. Would want to point out the Busy Group, Red Doors, KBZ Bank, and AirAsia, to name a few successful G Suite engagements in Southeast Asia. Busy was a change management and migration project for about 3,000 users. Red Doors, that was an interesting engagement. It involved streamlining their booking process for better interconnectivity between their departments to help increase their productivity. Red Doors is a Singapore-based hotel company. KBZ Bank, of course, the largest bank in Myanmar. And for AirAsia, this was a massive G Suite adoption project and also an app scripting project to help automate thousands of their internal processes, where we help the customer move away from their heavy Microsoft footprint. Now, having taken up a good amount of time in context setting, I would now hand over to the next SEER speaker to roll forward with the best practices session.
So we can start with Google Vault. Google Vault is a Google tool, G Suite tool. It's basically used for e-discovery purposes. So Google Vault retains the whole search, export data, or support the organization retention and litigation part actually, and e-discovery needs. So if you want to the e-discovery of G Suite accounts, like you need Gmail messages, chats in Classic Hangout or Google Chat, or Google Groups data, on any files of a Google Drive or Google Meet recording, you will find this data in Google Vault. So basically, it's a e-discovery tool, and it is included in Google Enterprise and Business and Basic. You can standalone. You will get these features if you want to use Google Vault. And best part of Google Vault is it's a very you can see. How can I explain it? It's a very simple tool to search and find the data, and it is not required any additional storage and anything else. It is by default included in G Suite thing. So in basically Google Vault, I can explain you some more things like suppose you want to keep the data of a particular user or group of users for 5 years, 10 years, or unlimited time of period. You can preserve the data. And if you want to suppose by mistakenly user has been deleted his data, you will get this data from Google Vault. Basically, it's not an end user product, but admin can retrieve the user's data through Google Vault. And the best part is you can assign anybody as admin, delegated admin role access to some other person. Like if you are busy, you want 1, 2, 3 person guys are there, you want them to discover the data, that is also possible through Google Vault. So in this Google Vault, basically the product support on Gmail messages, chats like Classic Hangouts, and the Google Chat also included. But one condition is there: you should enable the history. If the history is not on, then after 24 hours, Google by default it will delete your chats. So in admin console, it should history should be turned on. You will find the data of Google Groups and any files of Google Drive. You can search for Google Vault. And meet recording, as I already mentioned, if you have recorded that particular meet or meeting, you will get the data in Google Vault. Next, we will come to Alert Center. Alert center is its name itself suggests it's a alert thing. Suppose you are getting some alert kind of thing from a Google send, or you are created some custom alerts like any phishing email, any incident management, or any government bet attacks. It is by defaultly it will come to your account. For super admins, you can investigate these matters. Like it's a single place to receive essential alerts notification to inform automatically action. You can take action, but by default it will generate the alert. It's like you will get the spam and phishing malware emails alert, and account warning also. It is automatically suspended, or automatically it is getting suspended because of an unethical issues like bulk email sendings, or it is this account is accessed by some multiple locations. And device management, suppose Google had noticed you are doing some suspicious device activities, like this you are using in jailbroken devices or Android rooted devices. It will alert you, okay, like this user wants to access his personal data or email address, some suspicious device. So you will get this alert, and by default it is available for basic and enterprise. But business, if you have using basic administration or like basic account, you will not get this feature. But business enterprise, basically it's a enterprise feature, but somehow it is some features are available in business SKUs also. Next part I will get the investigation tool. It's enterprise features. Basically it's an enterprise feature. Here you can find the email logs, drive logs, email messages, and drive logs. Suppose you want to find these data where it is in used. Like you have the data called subject line called test 123. If you want to know who sent this data, and how many recipients are there, and did they open this email, or they deleted this email, you will find anything. And if you have some you want to know how many suspicious emails are there, or any spam or phishing emails there, you will find it in security section and investigation tool. And this is the most advanced feature we have received from Google since last 2 years. I can say very proudly, because uh, earlier we don't have any other options like 30 days mail, or if you want to search a particular time frame, if you have any subject line called ABC, you want to particularly investigate that ABC part, you need to use like an investigation tool. It will really helpful to you. You can find this email, you can delete this email from backend also. And if you are if you have any doubt ki this is not a genuine email, you can send to these emails for all users as spam email. You can mark this. Similarly, this is not helpful to only a Gmail. You can perform the task to Google Drives also. Suppose by mistakenly one user shared a confidential file to any other users. So now you are not able to contact with this user particularly, but you can perform these actions via admin console from backend. You can remove users, you can add users, you can disable the download and print option from backend. And suppose you want to change the ownership because you believe that this guy is not belong to this particular file, you can change the ownership anyone else also. And similarly, it will help you about the devices also. Suppose you have large amount of device, like you have, in your console, yeah, the people are using like 1 lakh devices. But how you will find how many devices are Android or how many devices are iOS? You can find this. Even you can filter out that update versions. So you have specific update version, and you want to search how many users are using this update. You can find that. So it will really helpful to you to
Yeah.
investigate any matter. Dhananjay, you were saying something?
Yes. So if into the animation, you will see that if I'm using Gmail log event as a data source or as a condition, I can use spam classification, and I've also chosen not as object. investigation tool is something will give you the option to play around with the alerts and also perform action on it. Yeah, so let's go to next slide, Ashwat.
Yes, we can perform the multiple actions. Suppose you have selected that 8 columns or 100, you can perform the 100 emails at a time also, or 300 emails. You can perform the bulk emails. That is a good thing for you. And the Drive DLP. Drive DLP is also a recent feature. It's available for enterprise. Suppose you have some rules in company. Suppose you want like some rules kind of thing. That credit card information should not be shared outside the organization, or any particular, you will say, any DL informations, any PAN number information, or what is the any document ID you have. You don't want your admin guys to be like users can't send to outside. You can set the, some rules in admin console that basically help you. You can set them a rule in admin console where email or any drive data will be there. It will match. It will match that content part. It will simply reject or alert. You can set admins get alert, or you can select the reject rule also. So this kind of data cannot be shared outside. So this is a new features for Drive DLP. So you can manage the drive data also. Dhananjay, if you want to add something.
It's fine. So let's go to next slide. If I'm audible, I can go.
Sorry, Dhananjay, we are not able to hear you properly.
Okay. So basically, we have seen that there are alert centers, there are investigation tools and DLPs to help you play around with the alerts and also keep notifying, keep updating that what's happening in the domain, right? If any user got compromised, so most of the time you receive an email alert saying account was compromised. Then what is the standard process that you should follow? Okay, so if you suspect that an account was compromised, the first thing to do is temporarily suspend the affected account. Okay, so you can prevent the unauthorized access. Then you have to review the audit logs and look for any configuration changes the user has recently made. So if there are any changes that user has recently made in the configurations, you need to review that as well. Okay, and you can use email log search to review the delivery of logs and domains. Right? Yeah.
So here you can see what can we do with we can wipe any mobile devices. We can delete the company's own data. If you want to delete, we can delete. Revoke the password recovery access. We can revoke this access. Suppose users or any compromised device, anyone wants to recover his password, that access we can revoke. Change user's password, we can change from admin console. And revoke auth 2.0 application tokens. Suppose this account is connected with other applications via auth 2.0, we can revoke all this from admin console and reset the user sign-in cookies. It will help, like if a user is signed in with some different locations or any different browsers app, if you will remove the cookies, it will ask for you. As soon as we will remove these cookies, it will ask for re-authentication and revoke security keys and the app password access also. So we can remove the all accesses from user and delete this user's account. So by these practices, we can say it is very like it is a best practice. We can by like you can see the user is onboarding right now. So we have removed everything: his mobile devices, password authentication, application, sign-in cookies, and everything. Now we can delete this user account. So next part is security control and incident response. So optimize this kind of things. Management of system access. We would recommend strong password with 2SB. A strong password means at least 10 characters and more than this with two-step verification. Role-based access. We can give particular users to any particular role, and auth keys and login challenges also. Logic challenges is like this. Suppose if you are using more than 5 times a wrong password to authenticate account, so Google will give you a login challenge basically. And encryption, we can give specific setting, service-based setting. We can disable IMAP and POP. Basically, it's we can say to user this is not an good, or like we said, not a best practices to use IMAP and POP. IMAP and POP, user can download this data anywhere else. And G Suite email securities. We have a lot of email securities like TLS based encryption support. And all encryption, we can apply these settings. And so we will always recommend to apply all G Suite email support. And DNS record, we can say we have SPF, DMARC, DKIM records. We can apply this record in DNS. So your identity cannot be theft. So no one can send email via POP. It will protect your ID. And Google Drive based sharing, simply in this option, it will give you you
जिस
have the
नंबर से
control.
आप संपर्क करना चाहते हैं वह अभी
You can give drive access to particular domain, and you can disable for all. And the management of device, and we have already I have covered this kind of thing. It will enforce you the policy. Suppose you have some policies with your organization, you can apply this, that it is more secure. Okay, suppose user can't download a company's data, or either he can't take the screenshot, these kind of things. It is always helpful for security purpose. And Chrome browser management settings also. Suppose you want what your users gonna use. Suppose you want to block this kind of extension, you have allowed this kind of extension, you can apply this kind of settings for management of device and browser. Prepare and monitor, same thing. Account recovery option for G Suite admin. G Suite admin can recover anyone's account. They can set password lengths. They can manage alerts and G Suite admin console alerts. We have already seen this catacomb. This kind of alerts in alert centers. And using G Suite administrative by API also. Suppose Google has some lot of APIs are there, so we can use AppScript or any other services to manage this kind of API services. So we can restrict any kind of APIs, or we can do this via admin console. And user training communication. User training communication is always a very vital part of any organization. We can manage how we can communicate the users, or communication, what should be done via users, and what are the best practices. To this kind of respond, we can see, we can already cover this part, key user account, how can we secure the user account. And G Suite content filter, that is also possible. We can manage what is the content we want to filter it out, or what are the contents we need to block them. Admin console review report API, that is already covered. And remove the malicious email, that is we have already seen. If you are using our security, G Suite is email security, by default Google will cover all the malicious emails or any unethical emails. But still you have received some emails via investigation tool, you can manually remove them. And secure client machines, that is also a part, because already we have MDM and Windows management in G Suite, so we can secure our machines also through G Suite. And transforming business through CS.
Thanks, everybody. So, hi guys, I'm Edwin. I'm with CS. I support customers across the region in Southeast Asia. Ashrabat, next slide, please.
Sure.
So with CS, we don't really just, when you build through us, when you work with us, in terms of migration deployment, or when you choose to build through us, we provide more things apart from billing. So all this stuff, one of the things we realized that there are cases where customers always will require support, and at times when things are really urgent, you want this to be responded to quickly. So from our side, we're able to provide 24/7 tech support for all P1 cases, and this across email and phone. It's not one of those ticketing systems where you just send across an email and then we just say hi to you 1 week later. None of that happens. We respond to you really quickly. We have a lot of engineers on standby. We have a massive team that supports this because we do have a lot of enterprise accounts. Automation is one of the big ones that we cover on. A 14 years history working with our G, we've kind of amassed a huge experience and use case library of app script, app sheets, app maker, etc. So all this allows us to create different workflows within G Suite itself to help you streamline operations. So one of the case examples would be for travel expenses, approvals, customers request for HR platform. All this done within Google Form, Google Sites. It encompasses everything within G Suite itself. So it basically log all your data and all your users within G Suite without the need for a lot of complex tools that will put them outside G Suite. So in terms of security assessment implementation, all these are periodic on customer needs basis. We understand that different enterprises, different organizations have different security protocols. We'll work with you, with your IT managers, your security experts to kind of determine what's the best settings that's required. So some of these cases, as mentioned previously, was around, for example, shared credit card information. Or in Singapore, we're pretty uptight about the PDPA policy, making sure that personal information is not part of the email. Will help you implement a lot of those stuff. And one of the things within CS itself is we don't just sell G Suite. We want the whole experience to happen. So that's why we bring in training sessions to improve productivity, adoption, admin control, security and automation. All this spans across from top to bottom, left to right, across all departments. We want to make sure your users are empowered to make decisions and use G Suite in the most efficient manner. Mobility management also is a huge one, where we have a lot of customers in the developing markets, for example, where they're using WhatsApp to kind of converse. And a lot of this data gets leaked. And this could be personal information, this could be company proprietary information. We'll also help you guys to set up all the mobile devices, what's the best settings for this. It could be a work profile, etc., on Android, etc. So service performance alerts, you periodically receive updates on what's happening on G Suite, for example, how's it working, adoption scores, for example. Let's say there's this side of the spectrum can really improve on. We'll also work with you guys on those. And apart from that, the standard stuff is we'll provide a dedicated account manager and conduct quarterly service reviews on all the above. We'll also provide some of the new feature rollouts. As you know, the G Suite team is very aggressive on improving the tool. So every quarter, there's gonna be something new coming up. So we'll make sure we'll review all this stuff, and we'll just make sure we'll send the relevant ones to you, and of course help you implement them when needed. Thanks, Ashrafa. Next slide, please. So in terms of 27 support, this is what we talk about. We have a robust process that supports this. So the customer can choose to send us an email or give us a call, and all this will quickly generate on our ticketing tool, and an agent will be assigned to this really quickly to work on that. All this is just like a simple snapshot on how the process happened on the back end. But in actual detail, we have our engineers supporting this, always on standby, waiting to work on customers. So our typical resolution time is around 72 hours. A lot of this happens on a much quicker scale. Next, please. So service performance alerts are also very crucial. One thing we really need to know is whether admin console whether all this stuff are working well. So all this are sent out in terms of an email template. We have periodic email alerts that send out if something is down and needs to be rectified quickly. And often, quite frankly, before the IT manager or the admin manager get access to this, we're already in the midst of fixing it. Next, please. So in terms of security management, I think we've spoken quite extensively about this. We kind of adopt like a 3-tier process. So it's assess, educate, and implement. So at the start, our engineers will go and speak to your IT manager, someone managing G Suite, and understand what is the best protocols that would match and fit your environment. a lot of customers that, for example, work with banks on fintech, they have a very different, robust security protocol that ensures a lot of the data stays within the ecosystem. Some of the lighter ones like startup, they're a little bit more flexible on the different ends. So once that is success, we'll provide a score, let you know like, okay, look, this is point A, and this is where you are, and this is point B where where we think you should be. This is the things to improve on. So following that, thanks. So we'll be educating the customer on the security scorecards on these are the scores that you really need to improve on, and we'll work with your IT managers on improving those scores. So the typical number we're trying to achieve is 90 and above. There's a quite detailed scorecard about this that we can walk through later on if there's time. And of course, in the next end of the next one month, which normally gets accomplished within 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how quickly the customer with us. It's normally we'll kind of combat against incidents, and not everything gets implemented between a span of 1 week. So tying this all together, it would be default on mobile management. So all this would be mobile. Security aspect, there's advanced anti-phishing, securities to make sure everything's secure. Security center DLP is really very strong. You really want to mitigate against any of the data security that happens. And of course, Vault, in case some things really get leaked and you need mitigation from the law, and there's always Vault to support you. So this is kind of how we make sure everything's covered in G Suite itself.
So basically, advanced security assessment, that we are also offering this as one of the so-called lucky draw for you guys. So basically, we will assess the overall admin console and policies. Then we educate you in terms of how security and how Google is always been spending money and time in the security, and how it is important to implement those policies, right? Or it's not just that we have a policies and if you're not implementing them, then we will not get the response time, and you can say the security piece covered altogether, right? So basically, this overall security assessment program is meant to be in a way that we first assess your console, then educate you, and security is everyone's job, right? So it's admin level as well, it's user level as well. So we will have 2 different workshops with you where we discuss about what admins need to do and a user responsibilities are. And then we come up with a final scorecard that looks like this, where you have a before score and after score. Yeah, at the next slide. Okay, so BPI with G Suite is, so we have a business process improvement team, and we have been helping our customers in terms of deploying G Suite, moving them from their legacy solution to Google. And not just that, we are also helping more G Suite and use G Suite at its best, right? So Google G Suite provides all APIs where you can utilize those write a code by using AppScript, right? So BPI is all about transforming the business processes, right? Next slide. So we know business process improvement is something we have been hearing these terms in a different scenarios. Then where it is actually applicable, if you are already on G Suite, you have been collaborating using Google Docs better, then where we can actually implement this, okay? So basically it is implement in terms of governance and control. If you want to drive any particular continuous improvement, let's say a workflow automation, that you just want that, okay, of one document is moving around within the team, and then you have to submit it to your manager. But what I want is I just want one click where everything needs to be done, and manager can see those notifications within the email itself and approve from then and there, right? So basically you can go paperless, you can automate workflows, you can meet all the obligations, and very important is you can together, right? Yeah, next slide, please. Now, we know that where it is applicable, where you want to have a reporting tools, etc., right? The processes which you can automate, what are those examples of the processes, right? So if you see the data collection and reporting, approval workflows, then customer follow-ups, very important is again document management to make sure that even user employees joins the organization or leaves the organization, your data is always secure with your organization, right? No one will be having access to that once they leave the organization. So you can have control over it. All right. Then purchasing an invoice and then order management. So basically, the first thing that we need to focus is getting your data on Google and start working on your process, how we can automate that process by using G Suite and Google ecosystem. Yeah. Next slide, please. So now how Sears can help you. Okay. What sets us apart? So we believe in keeping customers at heart of everything. Means we not just ask you questions, okay, what is the process, what you do? We do a proper workshop with you where we understand your current. We help visualizing things, tell you that, okay, this is how you can actually build all this together and automate the processes, okay? And we have a team of 10 application specialists, 3 business transformation managers, and 5 project managers. Next slide, please. And if you think that, okay, this looks like a smaller numbers, we have completed more than 900 plus auto processes. We have created 350 plus approval workflows. So these are just few numbers to tell you that we can actually make a difference and utilize G Suite at its best. Yeah. Next slide, please. So business process improvement process cycle, it works in a scenario where first we do the workshop, we understand your processes. Then if you want to address a specific process to be automated, we get all the requirements, which is called a requirement analysis or a design and implementation means we come up with a different approach, which has to be user friendly as well. We don't believe in increasing the steps. We try to reduce the steps and more user friendly, right? And then we implement it, we test it. We also give testing account and application where you can test all the scenarios and evaluate everything. And then only we'll do the sign off that, okay, you are happy with this overall automation and this job is completed. After that, we also give you the support in terms of anything that you would require, right? Yeah, that's all about BPA. Let's go next. So adoption training. Next slide. So in adoption training, if you can see that adoption training, we are talking about only communication, collaborate, and control. You can see all those applications there. Many of you think that, okay, I'm already aware of Gmail, I'm already aware of Google Drive. So if you're already aware about Google Drive and Docs, are you only working on Drive and Docs or you are still dependent on Excel, right? And if you are dependent on Excel, why you prefer to work on Excel, right? So those questions comes in. We bring you the expertise of educating your users for using Google Spreadsheet at its best. Okay, so we educate you in terms of how you can use advanced formulas, upload all your Excel to Google Drive, and then switch to Google Sheets.
I would just want to thank everyone once again for patiently listening in, all the way while we covered, some of the aspects which Alex mentioned about the role of G Suite and the new normal of working from home, and how it is a born in the cloud digital collaboration and productivity platform. Also really appreciate, Russ, thanks for giving us a live demo of what's new in the Gmail UI in the new home for work.